Hello, everybody. How are you doing today? My name is Tony Rizano, and this is another episode of the world famous, the universally loved, the best podcast in one, two, three galaxies. But, ladies and gentlemen, you and I, we just call this show Online Marketing Moves. And we are coming to you live today. Ladies and gentlemen, in the world, in a noisy world these days, marketing yourself, marketing your product, marketing your company is very important. And so, if you want to learn more, if you want to take notes on a regular basis, this is the show for you. Um, as of right now, we have 530 episodes uploaded on the YouTube. YouTube's a little slow, but should be by this weekend. We have all the episodes uploaded, and then I'll figure out how I'll do the whole publishing in them. And so if you like YouTube and you want to hear episodes on YouTube, you can always go there. You can always type in Online Marketing Moves, and I will let you know when you can do that. But, ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to have some fun. We are going to talk about storytelling. Now, when I mention storytelling, I'm not just talking about, sit around kids and let's read your book. I'm talking about in your life. We all have different stories we can tell, whether they're very exciting or whether they're mundane. Everything can be a story. And why do I bring that up? Because sometimes I know a lot of times some people think, man, my life's not that exciting, this, that, and the other. You will be amazed at if you sit around and you think about, what can I talk about? What should I talk about? How can I correlate this story with, with my content? You will be amazed at what you could come up with. Now, I thought about, I'm going to give you a couple stories that, that jogged my memory in the last few days. One story happened to be, I remember one time I was I remember when I was in the Navy once. It was a Saturday. It was just a random Saturday, and when I was in the Navy, I used to, and I lived in San Diego, and I had no car, and so I would catch the trolley, and of course it's just train system. Um, and when I would go when I would catch the trolley, I always brought my CD player with me, And don't ask me why, but I always had like an extra T-shirt with me. So I had a book bag. I would carry my T-shirt. I would carry my CD player. I would carry my CDs. Um, Sometimes I would keep some water. You know, I don't know why. Just in case, you never know. Because I grew up in a very small town, and in a small town, going to you never had to carry water with you, anything like that, because you could always stop by somebody's house and say, "Man, y'all got some water, man? I'm thirsty." And of course, back then they would just hand you an old glass of good old tap water. Before the before before society told you that tap water is bad and you shouldn't drink it, and then bottled water is so much better. I don't know about all that, but okay. But anyway, so yeah, I would carry, like a bottle of water with me, because living in a city like that and not knowing anybody, it's not like I could stop by somebody's house and be like, "Hey, you got some water? You got this? You got that?" So I said, I want to be prepared. So I had my little backpack. I went to the movies. I was on my way back. I went to the mall. I was on my way back, and I met no before I was on my way back, I was headed to the movies. I remember, and then I was riding the trolley, and this girl, she came, she stopped, she sat, and she said, "Can I sit beside you? Somebody's following me." And I'm like, "What?" And she said, "Somebody's following me." And I'm like, "Oh Lord, who?" And I remember she sat beside me and she started talking, and she's like, "That guy's following me." And at first I thought, is this like a spy movie? What's going on around here, And then the stop came, the guy got off, and she was like, "Thank you." And I said, "Cool." And then it was like two more stops. I remember I was going sort of downtown San Diego. I was going to get something to eat, going to the movies. So I went down there, and she got off and she said, "Can I come with you?" And this is way back before, this is back before long, long, long before COVID. Um, it was it was long before 9/11. It was like a year and a half before 9/11. So, there was no like stranger danger, you know what I mean? Like I didn't have that thought that this person could stab me or anything, kind of wild like that. So I was like, yeah, sure, you want to come with me, you want to get lunch or whatever. And I can't recall her name or anything like that, but I just remember I went to the Subway and she went somewhere and we ate together. And then I was like, all right. And she said, "Can I come with you?" I said, "Well, I'm finna go to the movies." She said, I I want to go see a movie too. I said, sure, why not? You know, and there was nothing like romantic going on. You know what I mean? Because I didn't find her to be. She wasn't. Everybody's attractive to somebody, but she was not attractive to me. So let's just say that. And plus, she was kind of kooky. I liked her, but she was little bit kooky. And so we spent the whole day together. Okay, it was very it's very odd, and we spent the day together, and it was cool. And I remember it was the sun was going down, and I said, "All right, well, I'm about to head back to the base," and because I was meeting my friend was going to the club. They had a club on the Navy base, like a dance club that you could go to. And so I said, I'm going to see my friend at this club, and she said, "Oh, can I come too?" I said, "Sure, why not?" And she came, and I remember she was my friend was talking to her, and then he was like, "So you dating or what?" She was like, "Yo, so you with him or what? So what you doing for my boy?" And all this type of nonsense. And she said, "Oh my God, what's And she started flipping out. She started freaking out, and she's like, "I don't like this guy. He's crazy." And then she's got real paranoid, and it got very strange, and she ran off. You know what I mean? And that was the end of that. And I've never seen my friend again. And we spent one wonderful day together eating Subway, and she got some Indian cuisine, and we rode around the trolley. We went to the movies. I don't know what movie we saw, but the point of all that is it seems like a mundane day, but you can tell that story, and you can apply it to different things, mystery and scarcity and that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Like it was a very kind of mysterious situation, because you normally don't have people who just randomly sit next to you and are like, "Hey, can I sit next to you?" And somebody spying on me, and it's like, what is going on? And if you think about that, you can if you ever wanted to write a story about people meeting on the train, you definitely could go. That has definitely came to my mind when I thought about writing like different articles and whatnot, thinking about, oh, I could write about, because I met a complete stranger on the train, and we spent the whole day together. So I could see that happening. If somebody ever told me a story like that, I could always say, man, I can relate. So never think that, oh, I can't apply this story, I can't apply that story. You can apply everyday life to stories. Just I'll tell you another one. Um, when I used to have a I used to have a I used to have a pretty good memory. Okay, I used to have a very very great memory. I can remember a lot of things. I can remember this. I can remember that. Now my memory is a little more even not long term memory, but it seems like the kind of I forget random things. Like I used to remember everything. Now, after me and my wife had our daughter, our beautiful daughter, she'll say, "What happened on Tuesday?" And I go, "What? What did happen on Tuesday?" So I had to write a lot of things down. And recently, as you know, a few days ago, I told you about a product that I started using, and I still use it because it also this is one of the reasons why I enjoyed using them, and that's one of the reasons why I enjoy that they are, you know, on the podcast, because the Magic Mind helps you with memory fog. And ever since I've had my daughter, I definitely have had to write um things down, and I definitely write more things down. I don't use the brain as a filing cabinet as I once did, because you know I guess whenever you I guess whenever I don't know, you become a parent, I guess I don't know if the brain is just like, hey, you got another human to worry about. You can't be remembering, who hit a home run in game 6 of the 1991 World Series, you know what I mean? And so for for that reason, this is why I highly recommend to you Magic Mind, because if you have become a parent, like I've become a parent, or, you know, we all, you get older, and it's just like when you when I was 12, I can remember kindergarten. I can't remember kindergarten anymore. So Magic Mind helps you focus. It helps you mentally. It helps you with clarity. It helps you function well on a daily basis with your brain. Okay. And if you want to give them a shot, you can always go to magicmind.com/marketing moves and get a subscription with the code marketing moves 20. And now, why do I recommend you getting a subscription? You should get a subscription because I'll tell you like this. When they sent me the sample, and I bought it. I mean, when they sent me the sample and I used it every day, and more. It was like a little espresso shot, and every day I would use it, and every day I felt like my mind, my memory was getting clearer. It's like a fog lifting off the brain, and so I highly recommend it. It tastes good, like I told you before. It tastes a lot better than what I thought it was going to, you know, because it has. Once again, I love to try to pronounce some of these. We got Makta, we got uh, Bacchio Monterera, which is great versus impulsivity. A nootropic that improves attention span, your ability to process and learn new information, and your memory. There you go. If anything else, it will help you. It will help you with your memory. It will help you with your productivity. It will help you focus. It will help you improve things. So, once again, go to magicmind.com/marketing moves and get a subscription. The code marketing moves 20. And now, and don't worry, we will add that website at the end of the show, and we will plug it again at the end of the show. And like I said, I highly recommend it. Now let's get back to some more storytelling and why you should use stories. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It does not matter what the story is. It does not matter big, small, indifferent, you know, use stories in your writing, use stories in your content, use stories in your business. People love a good story. People love people this is why people love. It's just like the underdog. That's why I give you an example. I give you an example. I always see people who are like, I started in the muddy mud. People think that's a badge of honor. They want to tell you that I had no help. I had no help when I made my first $1 million. I started from the muddy mud. And you hear that quite a bit. But a lot of times they didn't really start from the muddy mud. But it sounds better to the public. Nobody wants. I give you an example. Steph Curry, he's a great basketball player. Okay, Steph Curry, he's one of the he's in the top 50 basketball players of all time. Steph Curry, he can shoot, he can shoot, he's won quite a few championships. He's a heck of a player. But nobody's like, man, Steph Curry, he started in the muddy mud because his dad was also a great basketball player. And Steph Curry, he's been inside the NBA locker rooms. He's, shot in the NBA arena many a times. They got footage of him when he was a kid watching his dad play. So nobody is like, oh, Steph Curry, he had it real hard. And a lot of times whenever people discuss Kobe Bryant, they pretend like Kobe Bryant did not come from the same thing, but they're like, oh no, Kobe's different. He had the mama mentality, this, that, and the other. But Kobe grew up the same way like Steph Curry. Kobe's dad was a professional basketball player. He spent some time in the NBA. He spent some time in Italy. Kobe played with Kobe played he he played basketball in Italy. He's seen his dad be in the NBA. So it's like there's two different uh, visions of two players who basically grew up in the same way. You know what I mean? And so that's perception. And people love to say, "Oh man, this guy, he came from the muddy mud." But it's like I don't want not to get off on a tangent, but you don't want your kids, or if somebody said, "Hey man, I got a business," and you could give them $100,000 to start the business, and if you they were a friend or a family member, and you could give them money to start the business, you definitely would. You don't want to be like, "Ah man, start from zero. I started from zero." No, but the perception, the better story to tell is, no, I started with nothing. I had nothing but the clothes on my back. And that is storytelling. Another example of people telling stories. You see a lot. I was I was looking one day, and I saw it was somebody selling. No, somebody had a restaurant, and I guess it was starting to become a popular restaurant. And I read the bio, and in their bio, they told a story about how they got recipes from the grandma, and I had to chuckle because everybody gets recipes from the grandma. Everybody. Whenever you see like a person trying to sell like lemonade, or I don't know, sweet potato pies or anything, burritos, they're like, my grandma handed me down this recipe. And that's cool and everything, but it's like, how many of y'all grandmas handed y'all recipe? My grandma, I love my grandma to death. My grandma didn't hand me one recipe. My grandma, my grandma showed me how to play cards. She didn't show me how to make any recipes. So if I wanted to create let's say if I wanted to sell you cornbread, which I probably could according to my wife, but if I wanted to sell you cornbread, I would have to come up with a story like, oh man, my grandma oh, my grandma showed me this recipe. You don't want to be like, yeah, I learned through trials and tribulations. And the first batch of cornbread I ever made was okay. and then one time I put too much sugar in there, and it cooked kind of slow, and I had to turn it down to 275, and we got through there. No, nobody wants to hear that. They want to hear a nice story, and you would have to say, "Oh, my grandma gave me this recipe." But I'm saying all this to say every every everything that has happened in your life, you can you can you can turn into a story. You know, you can apply it, you can use it over and over and over. Some it's like, and don't think that once you get a marketing s- story, or a business story down pat, don't think you have to switch it up. I've you you know how a comedian will go on the road for like a year, touring and doing his jokes, doing his stand up, and then he will run, and then he will do it like a special or like a movie. And that is a year of him being on the road doing the special, conducting jokes, and you know taking one out, putting one in. And so when it comes to your storytelling, you can always you can always construct, you can always you know put in, take out. I'm not saying completely make things up, but you and I both know sometimes a story needs a little needs a little punch. You know what I mean? Just like in the beginning when I told you the story about the girl, if I would have told you, yeah, the girl got on the bus, she got on the trolley, and she sat beside me, and she said somebody was spying on me. And then I looked over to my right, and he had a gun. That would have been a lot better. That would have been, you would have been like, whoa, you know what I mean? And so if I'd have said, I thought he flashed a gun. Did he flash a gun? And not really. Was he even chasing her? And I doubt it. Who knows? I don't know, but it sounds much better when you punch it up a little bit. Punching up a story is not lying. You know what I mean? Now, if you say, "Yeah, I made $1 billion today," that would probably be a flat out lie. Unless you're Jeff Bezos or something like that. But you know, don't 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 just make up a bunch of don't just make up a bunch of things. It's like I heard a story one time. Dan Kenny was saying, he's talking about time management, and how he does time management. And he was saying one time his house was on fire. And this guy was knocking on the door, and he was ignoring the guy. And then the guy jumped over the fence and said, "Hey, your house is on fire." And then he said he went from being an annoying pest to a welcome guest. And then later on he said, "Well, it was the bush was on fire, the house wasn't on fire." But he said, "Hey, what sounds better to you, the house or the bush?" And of course, the house the house being on fire sounds a lot more dramatic. And technically, his house was on fire because his bush is a part of his house. So storytelling is very important, and you don't have to be the most polished person. You don't have to be the best storyteller. But what you want to do is apply um, different things that has happened to you in your life, and apply it to your business, apply it to your content, and do not be ashamed, and do not be embarrassed. We all have moments of embarrassment. We all have moments of pain. You know, I I, I remember one time. I remember one time I was. I, I remember one time I was walking, and me and this girl was walking, and we was walking down the street, and I was trying to date this girl at the time. And I remember we was walking down the street, and we was walking. For some reason, we was walking like up a hill or something like that, you know. And I remember walking. I remember talking to her, and I turned to my right, and I looked, and she was and she was gone, you know. And I was like, "Where'd she go?" And she went tumbling down the hill, and she went tumbling down the hill, you know. And back then, I was like 17, probably 16, probably something like that. And back then, I just was. Now I'd be like, "Oh, you okay?" Back then, I no way. I started cracking up laughing. I was gak, 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 gak. I thought that was the funniest thing. And then I remember for no reason whatsoever, I just rolled down the hill myself. I said, I didn't know we was playing this game, and I just started to roll down the hill. And she was like, "My ankle hurt, you SOB. I'm not this is not funny." And I'll continue to laugh. And let's just say that didn't last. that that wannabe relationship did not last after that. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. But I came out with a funny story, you know. Uh, I still think about that and laugh. But storytelling is important. Storytelling is a necessity, and you want to tell. You want to be engaging. You want to tell stories. You want um you want to be open. You want to be, upfront. You can tell stories. You can tell stories about, things not working out. You can tell stories, positive. Sometimes you can go negative, you can go positive. You can go, you can tell about the wins you had. You can always tell about the losses that you have. Don't try to hide anything, It's just like when I it's just like me telling you when I first started this podcast, I got 1,000 downloads a day. That would be a out and out lie. Okay. Uh, when I when I first started, it was crickets. It was crickets. I remember I was telling my wife yesterday. I would uh I would record, and then I would upload it, and every now and then it would be 3 days. It would be 2 days, 3 days, and I would get no downloads, and I would go, "You got to be kidding me!" And so, you know, I'm not gonna sit here and say, "Oh man, when I first started, I was getting 1,000 downloads a day." Nah, it didn't happen that way. But ladies and gentlemen, storytelling is important. Storytelling is something that you should do. Storytelling is fun. It's go back on your life, think about things that happen. Good things, bad things, things happen. We all know that. But ladies and gentlemen, that is it. We will be back Monday with an all new episode of Online Marketing Moves. We will probably drop a bonus episode this weekend because I appreciate you listening this week. You have been on top of it. We have been on top of it. And like I said before, ladies and gentlemen, earlier, if you haven't already, go check out Magic Mind. Go to magicmind.com/marketing moves. I'd like to thank them for working with me, sponsoring the show. And use the code Marketing Moves 20. And until Monday, thank you for listening. God bless. And as always, everybody, peace.